Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to Monster Tamer News, the segment on this channel where we go over the past week's developments in the world of monster taming. This week we have some really exciting news, such as our first look at Temtem Cipanku update, some really interesting Skyclimbers news regarding the Kickstarter and stretch goals, and some new monster taming games making their debut on the channel. But before we jump into that, I got a really interesting piece of information that I can't go too much into detail about. However, I was contacted by a couple of very experienced developers who are currently working on a sci-fi themed monster taming game that I personally think will change the very landscape of the genre as we know it. Those who know me know that I don't exaggerate when I say stuff like this, and let me just say from what I've seen, this game looks amazing. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't show you anything, but just to give you a little bit of insight, we have animators from Stranger Things alongside the art director from games like Borderlands 3, Guns Love, and Tentacles. They've also worked with Activision on the Skylanders franchise, so yeah. Anyways, they asked me to share a link to a survey basically asking questions so that they can tailor the game to what the community wants. That said, they've also created a Discord, which I will leave linked in the description, and I recommend checking it out because they do plan on doing early playtesting at some point. All I can say is big things are coming. But anyways, with all that being said, let's dive right into this week's news. Okay, so let's start things off by checking out the currently active monster taming Kickstarter campaigns, the first being Skyclimbers, which absolutely crushed its goal of 25,000 USD and is now sitting at over 80,000 USD as of the time of scripting this video. I wouldn't be surprised if by now it's crossed the 90,000 mark, if not the 100,000 mark. Because of the success of the Kickstarter, we've also unlocked some more stretch goals, and the first we already knew about was 100 more monsters, or Sentius. The second was a fourth class that was recently revealed to be the Engineer class, which will have a more tech-based skill tree, and we just unlocked a 48-player domination mode, which we still need to reach, but I personally think this will be a lot of fun. There are still several more stretch goals to be unlocked, and I'd love to see this game hit every single one. The game still has 25 days left in its campaign. Speaking of successful Kickstarters, the Ova Magica Kickstarter is now currently sitting at around 170,000 euros and still has 12 more days left in its campaign. The Blob Encyclopedia stretch goal has been unlocked as a result, and the next stretch goal revealed is the photo mode at 175,000 euros. I'm guessing we'll hit 200k by the end of the campaign, if not more. Only time will tell. In Monster Sanctuary news, Mo Rai tweeted out that the 1.1 update will be delayed until March. We also got a little more insight into the update, including the various features planned. Alongside various bug fixes and skill-based matchmaking, we can expect the much anticipated New Game Plus mode, which will of course be unlocked after beating the game. This mode will bring your monsters back to level 1, strip all equipment upgrades, and strip the player of all progression-based items. Now that being said, I'm still wondering what the benefits of going to New Game Plus will be other than just being able to play the game again. For example, Dark Souls has subsequent playthroughs which make certain items more common and enemies more difficult while also netting the player more souls. The second feature will be a new difficulty option, which will add a casual or a master mode to the game. The devs have also confirmed that a limited physical copy of the game will be coming to Switch sometime this year, as well as a collector's edition. I'm very excited about that. Zach, the developer of Siralim Ultimate, revealed some of the upcoming content for the next major patch during his podcast, and in it we learned that there are going to be 5 new specializations, including the Rune Knight, the Fanatic, the Spell Weaver, and the Grove Tender. And personally, I find this last one really interesting, the Purgatorium, which allows you to use specific dead creatures to sort of fight. Maybe certain abilities will be able to work on their own depending on the perks that you have or whatever. I'm thinking that the monster that was revealed, Tanukruk from Monster Crown, might be useful with this specialization as it kills its teammates. We also are getting 3 new arena modes, the first being Infinite Arena, which is basically like the regular arena but has no limit and allows you to earn more glory points. The Wild Arena, which basically sets a random rule to each battle. And the Masters mode, which from what it sounds like, it lets you play as the Creature Masters and against Creature Masters. He's also made it so that Nether Stones are more powerful on average as your depth increases, and that there's no cap on them. And as I mentioned in our This Month in Monster Taming video, it does seem that the patch will be coming late February. Okay, so now it's time for that juicy Temtem news that we mentioned earlier. Now, firstly, we got to look at Golzy here, the final evolution of Sparzy, and we got our first look at Cipanku, specifically the northern, more traditional area. which chiefly focuses on the electric type. We also get a look at this unknown bee Temtem, a confirmation that teleportation is coming, and the official scrapping of the current roadmap. For more information, I did do a full video on this. I'll leave it linked in the description, but basically they're going to keep their goals internal to avoid rushing out any patches, and they plan on increasing the original conceptualized content. Cipanku is set to release in either March or April, so definitely stay tuned because I plan on covering it in depth as per the usual. In Kindred Fates news, the alpha was once again updated, this time to include an upgrade to the netcode system, making the game more reliable, and commitment to your melee attacks. We also received some bug fixes as well. The bi-weekly newsletter also popped, and in it we learned that more abilities are coming and the training area is currently being worked on, which I'm pretty excited about. The devs are also hosting a tournament on the 27th, and the footage you're seeing on screen is from a new trailer that they released, basically sort of teasing the tournament. This is to celebrate 1 year since the Kickstarter campaign was successful. Monster Crown had a big update in that Jason added achievements to the game. These are all retroactive, so the next time you log in the game, expect a few to pop up. Now that said, the update also included a brand new booster pack, being the Perilous Plains, which can be found at various shop locations at a coin flip chance. Jason also stated that the next 2 content updates will be quote-unquote substantial and will expand the current roster of monsters and the story of the game. So I'm really excited, and you guys can definitely expect a stream for when that drops. The developers of Adore over at Cadabra Games just released their latest devlog, which talks about the changes that will be made to the way monster health works. Previously, when your monster's health reaches 0, you'll both take damage and it'll die. However, this was somewhat problematic if you ran out of monsters because your only method of attacking is to actually use the monsters. This could be quite annoying in situations where you're fighting a boss or with situations like the upcoming human battles. This new system will change how you take damage. Basically, your monsters won't die, and instead when they take fatal damage, you'll take increased damage to yourself. This sort of increases the life link between you and your monsters, as well as it gives you an option of attack at all times, so that way they can circumvent the problem with not having an auto attack on the main player. The Mithrin Discord server hosted a Q&A, and in it the devs answered some various community questions. Some information we learned includes that the game will have a deep-rooted lore, with the first half featuring the protagonist learning about the various cultures of the world, and the second focusing more on the Darken. We'll also learn that status effects will have a temporary effect rather than a permanent one to compensate for the game's real-time combat, and that the devs are open to the idea of hosting community-based tournaments when the game is out. The Q&A is archived in the Mithrin Discord, so if you want to check out the full thing, you can definitely check it out there. Okay, so as we previously stated, we do have some new games to showcase, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the various games in this week's segment. Then starting next week, whenever they have relevant news, they'll be worked into the segment just like every other game. Also expect a Monster Tamer showcase for each of these games moving forward, and especially as we get more information. Okay, first up is Monster Tribe, a monster taming RPG focused around a resource system, which will have you finding various treasures, upgrading your equipment, etc. And of course, the game does have a turn-based RPG battle format, which prides itself on having an easy-to-learn but hard-to-master foundation. I personally really like the pixel art in this game, and the developer actually has a YouTube channel where they quite frequently showcase their development progress. I highly recommend checking them out, linked in the description. Next up is a bit of a different project called New Town Needs Tamer, which is basically a monster tamer game mixed with a dating sim. The game features a plethora of customization items for your monsters, 3 variants for each monster, as well as 2 separate color schemes, various characters for you to interact with and date, and it all culminates around this specific town. The game also features turn-based combat and kind of reminds me of Happy Wheels in terms of its graphical style. You can check out this game as well as the others in our Monster Taming Discord, where all these devs are active as well. If you watch the collaboration I did with Clemmy over on his channel, his #1 pick for upcoming monster taming games was Monster Harvest, a monster raising and farming game inspired by Stardew Valley. Now, as of such, the game does feature crafting, farming, like I said, monster raising, and more. We also have the project manager in our Discord who's been providing updates as well, so another reason to come join. The last game I want to introduce for this week is Amber Roots, a project that you probably haven't heard of as it's recently made its way into the public eye. It's being created by Augustine, a solo developer, and seeing as the game has just become public, I actually did want to give him the opportunity to explain the game, so I'm actually going to just use this clip from his recent devlog, which will be linked in the description.
Amber Roots is a monster taming non-linear RPG where you'll be living out your life in your own personal ranch, taming and taking care of monsters, using them in turn-based party battles, and exploring a large world at your own pace as you make your own goals.
So yeah, definitely some pretty interesting stuff, especially for those yearning for a more Monster Rancher-esque game. I do highly recommend subscribing to his channel because he will be providing the community with various updates. Alright, so as per the usual, we have this week's rapid fire news to cover, and as usual, we have some pretty interesting stuff. Firstly, the Anitons devs have recently announced that they've given their prototype to all interested parties in hopes of securing a publisher. The PatchQuest Discord shared some new images, including some of the new map, a new mini-boss, and some new pins. The way that pinning various points on the map will work is undergoing changes as well, so look forward to that. We got a brand new Planos design for the upcoming game Final Stardust, which is currently not yet named. The Disc Creatures Twitter page showcased this new two-headed bug guy, whom also has yet to be named. Stratton Studios released another screenshot for their upcoming Halloween-themed monster taming game. This tweet was titled Trick or Treat. The Eternal Exodus developer uploaded a new short video showcasing the game with its updated assets, and you're currently seeing that on screen now. The Xenoscape demo is now live on itch, and you can also check out the Xenoscape channel in our Discord for updates on that. We got a new shiny variant for one of the monsters in Necromancer's Gift. Leo even made a four-head variant for Clasher. Mython Island is currently on sale until tomorrow for 10% off. This looping GIF on screen is also a brand new clip of the upcoming adventure mode. Ark Survival Evolved is also on sale for 80% off. The Coromon developers released a couple of short devlogs which revealed that they've added more button options for Swarmy Rush, a custom difficulty setting that allows for players to catch other people's Coromon, and a reorganization of Luxalis, dividing the company into 3 parties: battle researchers, special researchers, and field researchers. We got a couple new clips from New Monsters, the first showcasing the game's menus, and the second showcasing some of the overworld stuff. And finally, last but certainly not least, we get some new sounds and UI from Drugimon. Let's take a quick listen. Yeah guys, a pretty busy week overall. I'm especially excited for the new monster taming games. I think Monster Tribe and Amber Roots have some really solid pixel art, so I'm definitely excited to see more from them. Don't forget to fill out that survey that I left in the description, because this Sci-Fi monster taming game, which I mentioned, is low-key one of the games I'm most excited for. Anyways, with all that being said, I do really appreciate you guys watching each week, and if you do enjoy this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter at GymLeaderEd, and you can check out my Patreon where you can get some extra perks. Until next time, peace.